Hey guys, my name is Ria and today's video is going to be really interesting. So I have to get ready for work, so I'm going to shower, blow dry my hair, and then I'm basically just going to get ready and give you guys a story time of my fake Australian date. Alright, well, let's get into it. Okay, well, it all started. It all started. I don't know. When was this? I think it was my sophomore year of high school. So me and my two girlfriends went to the mall. So we were walking around and we see these three guys and we're like, oh, like they're cute. Like we should go and talk to them. So, don't mind me. So we go up to them and like we all exchange numbers and I think then we like added them on Facebook. I don't know if we did that later or if we did in the moment, but either way, we added them on Facebook and stuff, and we could see like they went to a school that was like pretty close to ours. Like we knew about it and everything, and we're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you know, they're close to us. So while we were at the mall still, I don't remember the other two guys' names, but I'm only gonna make up a name for the one guy, and that's the guy that I went on a date with. So I'm gonna call him Austin. Austin from Australia. So he tells me that he's a foreign exchange student from Australia. Oh my god. So I'm naive because I was like 15 or 16 and I believed it. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, foreign exchange student from Australia. Like, okay, whatever. We don't have to talk about how stupid I am, okay? Actually, you can. If you want, go ahead and roast me in the comments because Rhea. So fast forward, and I'm believing he's from Australia. He's got the accent going and everything, so I'm like, oh, okay, like, that's interesting. Like, I thought, like, we only do exchange students from, like, France or Spain or Argentina or something, you know? So I thought it was a little strange, but I was like, they went to a different school. Maybe that's what they do there. Whatever. So anyways, so this guy, like, he's giving me all these compliments, telling me, like, I have such a nice smile, all this stuff, like, you know, really, trying to swoon me over. So I'm like, okay, like, you know, I thought it was sweet, but, like, I wasn't really that attracted to him. I was more attracted to one of his friends. But I was like, oh, he's a nice guy, like, you know, whatever. And I'm like, he's from Argentina, like, he's from, where is it? Australia. So I was like, you know, I'll never have to see this dude again if I don't like talking to him. So we were texting for like a day or something, and then he asked me on a date, and I was like, I'm like socially awkward, okay? Like, I was not cool in high school. I'm still not cool. But so we were texting and everything, and he asked me on a date, and I'm like, oh god. So I said yeah because I did not know how to say no back then, and we agreed that we were gonna go see a movie. I was like, okay, whatever. So he picks me up, and it was pretty obvious he was like trying to impress me. He pulled up in like this like red fancy looking car. I don't know cars. They don't impress me. They really never really will impress me because I don't care about them. Which eye is gone? I think this one. And, like, the fact that I didn't process, like, whose car was he driving? I look like I have a black eye. It's like, you said you're a foreign exchange student, and you're just gonna pull up with some fancy-looking car? Like, okay. So, whatever. I'm 15 or 16. I think I was 15. So I'm, like, 15 years old, so I don't know anything. Whatever. So, we start driving to the mall. Whole time he's got the accent going and everything. I'm like, this is interesting. So we're driving, and he was like asking me, just like, oh, like what kind of stuff are you into? Like what are your interests? I put this on the wrong eye. Crap. So he was asking me like, oh, what are your interests? Like, what do you like to do? Yada yada, right? Except, okay, I'm really bad at accents, so I'm just gonna really butcher it, and you guys can roast me in the comments. So he's like, oh, what sparks your interest? What do you like to do? I think that's British. I don't care. I'm gonna keep doing that accent. And I didn't hear him for God knows what reason. I probably just wasn't listening because I was like probably super nervous because I was like 15 going on like my first real date. And so I like turned to him, I was like, what'd you say? And then he goes, what are you into? And I was like, what? Okay. So I was like, like it kind of threw me off, but at the same time I was so focused on being like, oh my God, this is my first date and I didn't even really want to be on it. So I was just like, oh, like, like I really like singing, like I'm into music. I was in cheerleading at the time, but I only really liked doing gymnastics, whatever. So he's like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm like, kind of like, it was weird. I'm like, did he break his accent? I'm like, did it just disappear? But at the same time, I was like, not really, like, I was like kind of thinking like, maybe I like heard him wrong. So fast forward now, we get to the mall, and he buys the ticket for the movie, and we were a little bit early for the previews even, so we were like, okay, like, let's just go walk around for a little bit, like, we'll take a lap around the mall. And so we started walking, and the first thing I noticed, I was like, he's really, like, I don't really like his style, but I was like, I'm not gonna hate about that because I'm like still under the impression that he lives in Australia and I'll never have to see him again. And I was still just thinking like, he's still a nice person. I'm not gonna have to see him again. Even though I was kind of thinking like, okay, I don't really think, I don't know if he's actually from Australia. But I was thinking like, he's still a nice person and stuff. So I'm like, okay, like, whatever. So, just to give you an idea, too, of what he was wearing and why I thought I was just, like, so just not really into it. Imagine bowling shoes. Like, I'm not even trying to be a hater. Like, I swear. Like, they literally looks like bowling shoes. And they were, like, red, though. Like, the whole thing was red. And then he was wearing, like, these jeans. I sound like such a... But, yeah, he was wearing these jeans, and they were just, like, old-looking, like, relaxed, like, light-colored jeans. They just didn't look like they had any style. I did find, like, this one picture. I'm gonna put it, like, right here. They were just... It just wasn't my style. But, like I said, I was trying to be nice, and I'm like, I don't have the best style either. At that time, I had, like, a comb-over going on, because we all liked the side bang. But, whatever. Then we were like, okay, let's go back to the movie, or let's go see the movie now. And I think it was honestly, like, it was either, like, Dear John or, like, The Vow or something like that. I don't know. It was, like, really sappy. But, I love rom-coms, or I love, sappy movies. I don't even think that's a rom-com, but so I didn't care. Like I was into the movie. I wanted to see the movie. Sorry, Austin. So we go to the movie and we're watching the movie, and like everything was fine because he wasn't talking. So I was like, all right, maybe this oh my God, fumes. Maybe this date won't be so bad. Like, whatever. Just watch the movie, go home. Call it a day. And so during the movie, it was probably like more than halfway through the movie, he was like, he looks at me and he goes, and I'm like looking forward, I'm like, so like just picture like we're sitting next to each other in the movies, and you're looking at me, you're the guy right now, and he's looking straight at me, and this is me. Just watching the movie, like, nope, Like, I'm thinking, like, oh, man, is he gonna try to kiss me? I'm like, no, man, like, let's watch this movie. Like, that's gross. So we watched the movie. Anyway, so he keeps staring at me, and I finally was like, what's up? And he's like, can I hold your hand? And I'm like, yeah. Like, I thought it was very strange that he was asking me, but I'm like, I don't know, is that how you guys do it in Australia? It's like, I was like, yeah. And he's like, really? And I'm like, okay, what is going on here? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm like, I don't know, he like got all smiley and weird and then like held my hand and I was like, this is uncomfortable. I was ready to go. Like, I was already awkward and I'm like, if this isn't making me more awkward, ouch. I don't know what is. So then, what happened? So in the movie, then the movie was over. He, like, didn't try anything else, like, during the movie. Thank God, because my little 15-year-old awkward self would have had a heart attack. So then, we were leaving the movie theater, and, we get in the car and everything, and I'm like, yes, I'm ready to go. Like, take me home. It's a school night. He's like, oh, do you want to go home or do you want to talk for a little bit? And I'm like, I should probably head home. Like, I have school tomorrow. I'm thinking, like, you have school tomorrow too, don't you, Mr. Foreign Exchange student? But I'm like, you know, I'm just like, oh, I have school tomorrow and stuff. Like, I'm thinking, like, I really didn't enjoy this date. I want to go. Like, it was just awkward, okay? Like, I'm not trying to be a hater. It just was weird, man. It was just awkward. So, yeah, so I was ready to go. I'm praying to God that my mom would call me soon. She didn't. So then it was pretty obvious he was trying to, like, just spark some kind of conversation to, like, keep me there a little bit longer. And I was not having it. I'm like, I'm grateful that you paid for this movie, but, like, we didn't really talk this whole time, so I don't really know what to talk to you about. I'm also socially awkward. So, by the way, sorry if you guys hear, like, water dripping in the background. Me and Alan got a bidet, and it just makes that noise all the time. And if you don't know what a bidet is, then look it up. So, anyways, yeah, he was trying to keep me there longer. He was trying to, like, talk to me and stuff more. And I'm too nice to be like, take me home. So, I was like, I don't know, just answering whatever questions he had and stuff. And he broke the accent again at one point, and I was like, now this time I knew for sure. I was like, you're lying. Like, why are you lying to me? And I kind of got, like, a little, like, annoyed because I'm like, why are you lying to me? Like, that's weird, you know? Like, I didn't catfish you. Like, you know? Like, I don't know. It was strange. But, so I was a little annoyed about it because I was like, that's not cool, but, like, is this your way of trying to impress me or what? So then he was like, oh, like, because I think I kept looking at my phone or the time or something, and he's like, oh, like, do you need to go? And I'm like, yeah, it's probably best. My mom was texting me. That was a lie. And I was like, you know, she just wants me home. And he's like, oh, okay. And he goes, but I just got to try something first. And I was like, ah! And so I was like, oh, man. Like, again, Rhea at 15 did not know how to say no. Now I'd be like, skirt! But, yeah. So, he leans in to kiss me. After literally probably, like, 2 seconds, I was like, thank you for your services. No, I'm just kidding. But after, like, 2 seconds, I was like, I gotta ask you something. And he's like, yeah, what's up? Or he didn't say what's up. He was like, I don't know, something trying to sound super Australian. And I was like, I don't know, like, how to put this, but I was like, why is it at one point when we were talking, you broke accent? Let me tell you, homeboy was thrown off. He was like, oh, like she caught on, like, yeah, this ain't just good looks. I got a brain, too. Mama raised me right. So, anyways. So then, he obviously told me, he's like, all right. And he started talking normal. And I was like, this is psychotic. I gotta go. I'm like, this is just weird now at this point. Like, I caught you. So then he's like, okay, like, yeah, like, I didn't want to tell you, like, but he's like, yeah, I faked being a foreign exchange Australian student, like I wanted to get you on a date or whatever. I'm thinking, like, do you know how serial killer like that is? So note to boys out there, don't do that. It's weird. Anyways, so I was just like, obviously thrown off, but I didn't want to be mean, because I'm also thinking, like, I don't really know this person, and, like, I don't want to, like, offend him, because it's like, you know, like, I don't know you, I don't know what you're gonna do. You already faked that you're from a different country. Like, God, don't take me to a new one too. Like, after that, like, I was just like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, you didn't have to fake that. But, like, of course, like, I was nicer back then, so I was like, oh, you didn't have to fake that. But I'm thinking, like, this is weird. So he was like, whatever. Like, so then finally he was gonna take me home. Thank God. So then, like, he was, like, dropping me off and everything. And I don't know if he went to, like, lean to kiss me again, but you know, I didn't kiss him this time. I was like, I'm out. I'm done with this day. Dismissed. Exit stage right. So, yeah, so I get out of my car. I was like, oh, thanks for the date. Like, I had a lot of fun. That was a lie. But I did like the movie. I would definitely watch that movie again. So that was my story. That was the fake Australian date that I went on. But, like, at the same time, I'm like, really? You were so gullible. Like, come on. That was so obvious. But, you know, what did I know? I was 15 and stupid. Oh, and then, yeah, we never talked ever again after that. I don't even think I have him on Facebook anymore. I deleted his number because then I went home, and I think it was it that night? I want to say it was that night, because believe me, if I were on a date, my mom's not going to sleep. She's like, I'm staying up, making sure that you're alive and not kidnapped. So I came home. I'm pretty sure this was the same day still. And my mom and sister are in the front room. And they're like, oh, like, Rhea, like, how was the day? Like, how'd it go? Like trying to be all, like... And I'm like... So then they were like... And I'm like, Mom? I'm like, this guy fakes that he was Australian. And they both were just like, what? And I was like, yeah, that was weird. And, like, I don't know if I told them before I went on the date that, like, he was Australian or not. Probably not, because I feel like my mom and sister would be like, Rhea, really? And I'd be like... So, because I just, like, always like to give people the benefit of the doubt and be like, oh, you know, like, nobody's trying to fool you in life. Like, people don't try to scam you or like, make you think they're a completely different person than they are. But yeah, so then I told my mom and sister the whole story, and they were like, that's really weird. And, like, at first I knew that I thought it was weird, but the fact that my mom and sister thought it was weird, like, I just hold their opinions, like, up here. So I was like, yeah, right? I'm like, okay, so it's not just me. I'm like, yeah, that was really freaking weird. But anyways, that made me feel better, because then I thought, like, okay, so I'm not crazy for thinking, like... Because I started thinking, like, well, maybe it's just, like, a harmless prank, you know? Like, or not prank, but, like, way to, like, get a girl, you know? It's like, maybe he doesn't get money dates. And I started feeling bad for him. But then, like, after hearing my sister and my mom talk about it, and they were really weirded out, I'm like, yeah, that is pretty weird, isn't it? So my mom and my sister were like, you probably shouldn't go on another date with him. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not going to. It, like, just wasn't fun, you know? But anyways, that was my story about my fake Australian date. I wonder if he knows that I still talk about him to this day, because that scarred me. But anyways, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all of the above, and have a great day. Bye!
Mr. Binksy would never lie about who he is, right? Look. Say hi, Mr. Binks.
Jay bugging on them 808s.